guys don't mind, we're going to get started. We'll have a lot of good things going tonight, so we want to spend as much time honoring our Hall of Famers as possible. I want to take care of a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. The bathrooms are straight out this door and to the left if you need to use the bathroom. We have these young ladies and men walking around getting you drinks. Can you guys wave your hand for a second so they know where you're at? Thank you. They're the National Honor Society. They are working to get some hours, so they have donated their time to come help us out with the Hall of Fame today. So I appreciate their time because it's Friday, and it's probably the last place they want to be is school right now. So thank you. Vintage House has done an amazing job with providing us the food for tonight. One of their owner is an alumni of Roseville, so he does an amazing job of taking care of us here. So we greatly appreciate all that Vintage House does for us. I also want to give a special thanks to Roseanne Marks, which is right there in the door. She pretty much is my right hand in getting this all together, so without her, the beautiful flowers that I did not do a good job last year with would not look nice this year. So thank you, Roseanne.
Thank you, Roseanne.
The last thing before we get started is I want to tell you a little bit of how we got to tonight. Last year was the first year that we started the RHS Hall of Fame. It was something when we started out as a way to honor past athletes. And as we got going, we realized it went way past that. It brought back alumni, it brought together current teachers and current staff, and it brought back friends and family together to this amazing school district. So this has morphed into something more than athletics, into something that's really been a huge community event. So that's probably the biggest thing we've been proud of that this thing has turned into. And it's evident by how many faces we have here that went to Brablec, that went to Old Roseville down the street, and that went to current Roseville here, bringing together our three high schools. We even have one person that's in our Hall of Fame this year that is from a different high school that wasn't one of those three. So that's even a little more exciting. So one of the biggest things you'll see in the athletic wing and as you go around the athletic area and complex is a consistent saying, and it meets the goal that we set out for the Hall of Fame that meshed it all together. We champions of one, honor the past, build a future. You'll see it everywhere. That's what the athletic department tries to do, the high school tries to do, and it's what we're doing tonight and what we want to bring focus to with you guys being here. So, now to the Hall of Fame part. As like any Hall of Fame, it's a prestigious honor. It's not easy to get into. Very few athletes get into any type of Hall of Fame. So we took the same approach last year when our committee got together. It was made up of former ADs of Brablec High School, Roseville High School, and current Roseville High School. There was about 8 of us that sat and debated for a while what was going to make a Hall of Famer. We settled on 3 big ones, which was they earned state honors, they earned league honors, they went to college and played athletics, and they were graduate for at least 10 years. With that, we sat down and looked at 300 names of athletes. I put them together, and we took it out there. We went through about 80 years of yearbooks, because some of us can't remember all the names and faces, so we searched through those. Luckily, we have an amazing archive at the Ed Building, which we went through to find that stuff. So based on that, we nominated people. Each of us nominated a couple that we looked through that sheet and saw their accomplishments and decided they would be worthy of being potentials for the Hall of Fame. From that list, we spent hours debating over pizza and subs how to, thank you, Mr. Comment, how to determine who is going to be in there. And we narrowed it this time to about 10. And we finally came to a consensus after much debate, like I said, to the final 5. So for those 5 athletes that get in today, it is a prestigious honor. Not everybody will get into the Roseville Hall of Fame, and it's for a reason. It's because of what you did on the court or on the field, and also what you have accomplished after leaving Roseville and making the community proud. So, with that being said, I'm going to start some introductions. The first person I'm going to introduce is our superintendent. You guys should all know them, no matter when you graduated. There was only one who's not here that wouldn't know him. So, Mr. Clement.
Thanks, Chris. The concept of this needs to be given credit, and Chris is the person that came up with this whole program idea. I felt, as Chris was talking, like I was back as the assistant principal in this side of this building. And Kurt Winninga was the principal, and Kurt would always come up to me and ask, "What are you going to say when it's your turn to talk tonight?" And I at first thought that he wanted to find out what I was going to say to make sure I wasn't saying anything wrong. No, it was because whatever I was going to say, he got up in front of me and said it. So, thanks, Chris. As Chris said, there's a ton of us athletic directors that have been around. Probably one that needs recognition in himself as being the first athletic director in this building when it was conceived in '67 and opened up in '69 is Oscar Frankwist. Oscar, wave, come on. The rest of us have been athletic directors either at the old Roseville High School, the old Brablec High School, or the new Roseville High School. And the selection of who was going to be chosen is not an easy decision. There are some really great athletes that went through this school, both male and female. There are a lot of students that excelled in college, some actually professional, and we finally came up with some choices that we think are the top athletes. Not that there are not other quality, but really good athletes and really made the school district, the community proud. And one of them is not here tonight because he graduated in 1952 and had all kind of state awards, went to U of M, and we can't find him. So that's why he's not here. There is another one that we chose that she just this last weekend lost her mother and is inside of California, and it's Marie Palinkas, who you'll hear more about tonight. But there's two of the five that were chosen that could not be here. If the food's ready, so I'm going to be quick at this point. I'd just like to do a couple introductions. I'd like to introduce Teresa Janae, the president of the school board. We also have three other board members that are here tonight. Joe DeFleece, Matt McCartney, and Michael Anderson. We had a clergy luncheon yesterday over at the hospitality program at the old Roseville High School, and we invited the clergy from the entire city over to that program. And one of the things that I'm very proud of, and I think all of us should be very proud of from Roseville, is the cooperation that exists between the Roseville schools, the Roseville city, the police department, and the fire department. There is hardly a community that can brag like we can of how we get along and how we cooperate with each other. And tonight we have many people from the city that are here that make this a great community. And I'd like to start by introducing Mayor Bob Taylor. Steve Watisha, Councilman. Charles Frontera. And Colleen McCartney, who's real familiar with this building. And now I always know I missed somebody. Is there anybody that I missed? I'll shut up. Chris, you're on.
Thank you, Mr. Clement. I also wanted to introduce Dr. Adams here. Dr. Adams is the principal here at Roseville High School. We have Mr. Adams, which is in charge of the human resource at the administration building. We have, that's why I wrote him down, and I'm going to pull a Dr. Mickens, which usually forgets names. Dr. Mickens is part of the AD, so Dr. Mickens, thank you. We also have one of our former Hall of Famers from last year, which is Stan Mazinski. We're going to start serving food. So what we'll do is we'll escort you guys up tables to go up and get your dinner. After we get through with dinner, we'll start with our introductions of our Hall of Famers. But before we do that, I do want to introduce our Hall of Famers. So if you are a Hall of Famer tonight, may you please stand up to be recognized. We have Micaela Mayer. We have Anthony Stadwick. And we have Cliff Howe. Thank you very much. We'll start calling up tables. The ladies and gentlemen in the back, if you guys need anything to drink, they'll grab you whatever you guys need. And we'll get started shortly. Thank you. We're going to get started, so if you don't mind making your way back to your seat. There's a couple other people that I do want to introduce real fast because they stepped in here a couple seconds ago or they might have slipped our mind. The first one is our Deputy Police Chief, Mitch Berlin, which is over here. Mitch, if you don't mind. He is a Brablec graduate, right? Brablec.
The other high school.
Thank you. And the last one is one of our school board members, Kevin Swetnowski, right there. Kevin. Thank you, Kevin. So now the most important part of the night where you guys get to listen to the actual Hall of Famers and some good stories. We had some really good stories last year and some long-winded people, not to mention any names, maybe sitting over there. I think the running time was 22 minutes. We had to edit it and cut it short. If you're when you get a chance to go down to the actual interactive touchscreen where the Hall of Famers are housed, there's a section for Hall of Fame, and his speech is in there, edited shorter. He's the first one we got in there. So it's in there when you could check it out. You're welcome. The first person I'm going to introduce is Pete MacKool. Pete MacKool is going to talk a little about Micaela Mayer. And Pete, if you don't mind coming up and sharing some stories. Pete is a second timer, so he is a pro.
Spilled water all over, so I'm glad I'm behind the podium. Twice. Well, first of all, good evening and welcome. And more importantly, congratulations to all the inductees tonight. It's quite an honor. I was fortunate enough to be asked for a second straight year to introduce a new inductee. Last year I had the pleasure of introducing Stan Mazinski, a track legend here at Roseville High. And this year I was fortunate enough to be asked by Micaela Mayer, another track legend here at Roseville High, to introduce her. So I'm very, very fortunate to be able to do that, and thank you both. Micaela's story is a little interesting. We met in 2000 when she was an 8th grader running track at Roseville Junior High School. And Coach Mazinski and I were the varsity coaches here at the high school, and we had just finished up our practice when the junior high meet began. I just happened to look up, and I see this girl running, and I'm like, holy cow, this is unbelievable, right? I'm like, you got to see this, because typically you don't see 8th graders run like that. I've seen high school kids that don't run like that. It was like she was running on air. It was something to see. It was just wild. So she had it all. She had power, finesse, speed. It was just it was amazing to watch, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be great. She's gonna be in 9th grade next year, and I can't wait to have her join our team. So when I went over and introduced myself, I said, I'm the track coach here at Roseville High, and look forward to you running with us next year. She said, I'm gonna play softball. And I'm a cheerleader. So in my mind, I'm thinking, well, not for very long, but yeah. So, all right, we'll talk about it a little later, whatever, long time till next year. So that's when it kind of got interesting. I said, well, your future's in track, right? Well, yeah, but I really want to play softball. I said, well, okay, but I don't know if that's such a great idea. So I talked to Mom, talked to some other coaches, and I said, I think we need to steer her. And we don't typically like to do that. We don't like to take a kid away from a sport that they're playing or want to play, to bring them your way. Well, I went to Cliff Piper, who was a freshman girls softball coach, and I said, Micaela Mayer, is she a pretty good softball player? He said, yeah, she's pretty good. Said, she going to college on a scholarship? Probably not. I said, okay, well, she's not probably going to be with you very much longer. What do you mean? I said, well, this girl has a future in track, and we need to get her on that right path. So that's what ended up happening. She split time, I think, right in the beginning, where she played some softball games, ran track, but then I think she realized pretty quickly that track was where it was at for her, and we had her full time. So very pleased for that. A couple of things she's done in track and field. Wow. Micaela was all county in 2001 in the 4x1 relay and the 200-meter dash. In 2002, she was all county in the 200-meter dash and the 400-meter dash. In 2003, she was all county in the 200-meter dash and 400-meter dash. In 2004, she was all county in the 200-meter dash and 400-meter dash. And in 2003, she won both of those events. She was the county champion, which is a phenomenal feat to win both the 200 and the 400. She was a team MVP in 2001, 2002, and 2004. She holds school records in both the 400-meter and the 4x2 relay. She qualified for the state meet all 4 years of high school, which is extraordinary. She was the regional champion in the 400-meter and 200-meter in 2004. At the state finals in 2002, she finished 6th. And then in the 400-meter in 2004, she finished 9th. She ran for the Detroit Cheetahs Track Club from 2002 to 2004, both indoor and outdoor. In 2003, she was the regional meet indoor champion in the 330-meter dash. And her team took 2nd place in a 4x4 relay. She qualified to represent Michigan in the United States Amateur Track and Field Junior Olympics in 2002, 2003, and 2004. In Omaha, Nebraska in 2002, she won a junior national championship in the 4x800-meter relay, which, by the way, was a new record. She went on to attend Grand Valley State University from 2004 to 2008 on a track scholarship. While with the Lakers, she helped the team win conference titles each year, both indoor and outdoor. She made it to the podium in the 200, 400, 4x4 relay, and 4x1 relay. She won a NCAA national championship in Boston, Massachusetts, with her distance medley relay team. That team was the first team at Grand Valley to ever win the distance medley relay. And they also set a school record. In 2007, she earned All-American honors. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2019 Hall of Fame inductee, Micaela Mayer. How'd that softball thing work out?
Not so well.
Not so well.
I do remember that. You're gonna sit there. Whew. That was a lot that I don't really remember either. I'm gonna turn this up. I want to thank you guys all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Coach. There you are. Thank you, Roseville High School and the community in honoring me in this way. I was really surprised and really didn't know what to do or what to think about it either. So I really am truly grateful and honored to be recognized here today. I feel like you talked kind of everything about that, so I'm going to be nice and short and sweet. But I'm not the only one responsible for my athletic achievements and the positive impact that it continues to have on my life today. I have a wonderful honor of working with student athletes every day, so I see truly how much athletics and sports can impact your life, and it certainly impacted mine, and I'm sure most of yours as well. Thank you, Coach, teachers, my family, for all your support, mentors that I've had, but most, I'd like to thank my mom, who I truly think that this award means more to her than it does to me. But you are the one person that has encouraged me and enabled my talents to grow. The one person who has relentlessly stood by my side through my highs and my lows, just beginning to the end. So I may not always show it, but you mean the world to me. Thank you. And I really would not be standing here, obviously, without her today, but with all her support and pushing and getting me to where I was, and I guess off the softball team and onto the track. So that is it. Thank you, guys.
As we work for our list of people that we may have forgotten, I do want to recognize the junior sports that are sitting over here. They are one of our feeder programs that bring a lot of our athletes and help keep them in Roseville. So I want to thank junior sports over here, especially Mr. Rainey, who's in charge. Thank you. The next Hall of Famer that's going to be introduced is Anthony Stadwick. He has a dual team introducing him with Mr. Benton and also with Mr. Wadie. So I introduce you guys to come up and talk about Anthony.
I will say, Micaela, of those things you probably don't remember, there was about a week period of time where you were injured in cross-country season and you need to stay in condition and you joined the swim team. So I'm glad in that week's worth of time my coaching was able to help get you into the Hall of Fame. It's an absolute pleasure to be here tonight, though, to induct Anthony Stadwick into the RHS Hall of Fame. When this hall was started last year, I wondered which Hall of Fame class it would be when Anthony was recognized for all of his accomplishments, from multiple division meet championships, or being a division meet champion in diving, a county champion in diving, a county diver of the year, an all-state diver, and an all-American diver to cap off his high school career, along with the successes that he enjoyed at Oakland University as well. I'm happy, and I think it's deserving, that it didn't take long at all. As I thought tonight about the honor being given to Anthony and to be able to induct Anthony, I spent a lot of time thinking about what I should say. It would be easy enough just to list Anthony's accomplishments, like I just did in a summary. They're certainly deserving of induction, but it doesn't give the whole picture of who Anthony was as an athlete or what impact that he had. To tell that story, I've got to start at the beginning, with a story that I probably told at the end of each of Anthony's seasons, at the end of our banquet, about this kid who one day after practice, as a freshman, said to me, "Hey, coach, want to see me dive?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. You know, it's diving. It's event 5." I said, "Yeah, sure." And I watched him go off the diving board with the best front somersault of anyone on the team, including my divers who had been practicing every day up to that point. Anthony wasn't one of those guys yet. That started the next day. that he was one of those guys. I can't and I won't take credit for Anthony's success. That comes from a combination of his sheer natural talent, his drive, his work ethic, his ambition. If I can take credit for any part of this, it's that I was smart enough to connect Anthony with one of the best diving coaches in Macomb County. And that's this guy right here, Adam Wadie. Adam was able to harness that talent and reach some fantastic results that brought Anthony here tonight. Like everyone here, you know that list of Anthony's accomplishments is enough to fill up a page. My goal is just to add some flavor to those accomplishments by sharing some stories from along the way. For instance, when Anthony was a junior, the Division I state meet was being held in Ann Arbor at U of M. And the final round of diving was taking place after all of the swimming had ended. And the minute the swimming events ended, Club Wolverine, which is this Olympic level swim club that works out of the University of Michigan, gets in the pool, starts their practice. And normally during high school diving events, there's this demand for absolute silence, during the event so divers can concentrate. But that wasn't going to happen on this day. No one was going to tell Club Wolverine's famed coach, Bob Bowman, who had his star swimmer in the water, Michael Phelps, to quiet down. It just so happened that when it was time for Anthony to perform one of his 11 dives, Michael Phelps was being a bit lazy in practice. I know this because I was watching that when everyone else but Anthony was diving. And his coach, Bob Bowman, started to bark at him a little bit. This threw Anthony off as he was conducting his dive. He didn't score as high as he had hoped. It impacted his overall finish, and he didn't finish where we all had hoped he would. And I know Anthony was disappointed, and we were all disappointed at the time. But looking back on it now, at least Anthony can say he just might be the only diver in the history of diving in this state who had a less than expected performance at an MHSAA state meet because the best swimmer in the world was being lazy in practice. There's plenty of other memories too, like my driving him to a state meet as a sophomore in the district station wagon in the snow. And I'll just say we arranged other ways for Anthony to get to some of these out-of-town regional and state meets after that event. In his junior and senior years, Lakeshore High School also had a diver who was striving for All-American status, had that All-American potential. And when these two dove together, it would be standing room only in our pool. Anthony's talent could fill the bleachers. It was amazing to see. After probably his second or third time breaking his own varsity records in both 6 and 11 dives, records that still stand today and probably will for a very, very long time, we just stopped celebrating him. And instead adopted the mentality of, all right, let's see how high we can push these scores, and we'll just update the record board when the season ends instead of after every single time you break them. As a coach, that's a great place to be with one of your athletes. Anthony's success didn't go to his head most of the time. Though he did enjoy some mini celebrity status in the tight-knit world of swimming, I remember one meet during his junior year where a manager from our girls' team was massaging his shoulders while everyone else was warming up. I made it clear to both of them that sure as hell was not going to be Anthony's warm-up and to get on the board. Well, he and I might have exchanged a word or two. He did what I demanded. He went out, he competed, and by the next year, his senior year, he was a team captain, leading the way in what was expected. We were both on the same page, my page, when it came to warm-ups too. I don't know how many of you know how you get named to be an All-American diver. It's not as simple as just achieving a certain score. It has to happen in an 11-dive meet, something that divers typically only get 4 chances at over the course of a season. It has to be videotaped, or at least it did back in 2007. It has to then be submitted to USA Diving, where they rejudge the entire meet. They rescore it, and then that score dictates if it meets the standard for an All-American. It's not a quick process. We found out Anthony was an All-American in early summer when his season had ended in March. A long wait for a crowning accomplishment on his high school career, but one that was well worth it. While Anthony went on to dive with success at Oakland University, battling back injuries along the way, an area of your body that might be the worst to injure with a sport that requires core strength and flexibility. The last part of my story I want to tell you about Anthony is not about his personal accomplishments, but about his personal impact on his team. Anthony made those around him work harder, strive for great accomplishments. I don't view it as any coincidence that as a team, our ability to compete, to win big meets, to win invitationals increased as Anthony and the example he set from his work ethic made its way through the program. When Anthony had graduated, again, I don't view it as a coincidence that the boys' swim team was able to enjoy their first ever division meet championship in school history because of the work ethic, the legacy that he set. That level of success breeds success. I don't view it as a coincidence that the divers on the team who dove with Anthony and were a year or two behind him also experienced the success of another county diving champion, Anthony being our first, and additional MHSA regional and state qualifiers in those years that followed. Success breeds success. So Anthony, you are deserving of being here tonight. It was an honor and a pleasure to have the chance to work with you and coach you and help shape you as a young man. It was an absolute pleasure to work with someone of your talent. And thank you for that, and congratulations. And now the guy that did all the hard work.
I felt like I didn't do any work. Here's my list. Through the course of my coaching career, I've coached over 350 divers over the course of 25 years between girls and boys seasons, all in high school. And I find that Anthony is the hardest working out of all of them. There's not a day in practice where he wants to know exactly what it is that he needs to do to get better and be the best. I simply tell him, just make the adjustments I make, and I'll take you as far as you want to go. He said, all right, coach, let's do that. I got a call from Jason 2005, his sophomore year, saying, hey, I got a kid who can actually do some stuff. I don't know what to do other than call you, see what you can do with him. I said, all right, I got a good group of kids that mold and will do well. And that's exactly it. Between him, there was another diver at Lakeshore, and I had a girl diver from Utica. We're all American qualifiers all together and all training together. When you have that kind of group of core athletes training together, it makes everybody better. Well, Anthony rose to the top because of the competition that's involved there. Like you said, success breeds success. That's exactly the story we talk about with Anthony. He held the record for a very long time over at L'Anse Creuse North High School. He had the highest record ever recorded in an 11 dive meet for 4 years after he graduated. Also, 2007 state runner-up. That's a huge accomplishment. Anytime you can make it to a state meet and finish top 8 is a great accomplishment. Anytime you can figure, he's a runner-up, that's even a more phenomenal accomplishment. There's one funny story, and I know Anthony will appreciate this. We were surrounded by a really good, great group of athletic coaches and diving coaches in the area. And we set up a practice over at Grosse Pointe North with a former NCAA All-American, and his best friend was Mark Lindsay, Olympic gold medalist. He was at the practice. We're like, hey, we're set up a practice, let's go. So we're like, all right, great, we'll go there. So I went and picked up Anthony, Cassie, and Steven, which were the 3 All-Americans. So Steven got in the front seat, Cassie got in the back seat on one side. I had my youngest son in the middle. He was only about 6 months old. And Anthony on the left side. So everybody gets in the car. My son turns to the right. He sees Cassie, and he smiles. He looks in the rearview mirror. He sees me, and he smiles. And then he turns over to Anthony and has an uncontrollable cry. He would not stop screaming on the top of his lungs. All he had to do was look at Anthony, and that was it. It got to the point where it was so bad I had to stop at home, drop him off, take him to my wife, says, "You have to take him. We can't go any further without him looking at Anthony anymore." So he had that look of intimidation, right? And that's another thing that you want in an athlete. We're saying, "You're not going to beat me." He even intimidated a 6-month-old. So intimidation breeds success, right? So Jason hit on many of the things that I have written down, accomplishment after accomplishment after accomplishment. But one thing I always make sure I keep with me and make sure all my divers, even I tell them now that I'm still coaching, is when you have a diver or any athlete, the caliber of Anthony and the work ethic of Anthony, it sticks with you. You never forget that, right? You've been years and years of coaching. There's always 2 or 3 athletes that stick with you for life. Anthony's one of those athletes. Anthony's going to stick with me for life because of the work that he put in, the determination that he put in, and the no-quit attitude. It's well-deserving. I can't think of a more well-deserving diver in Macomb County to receive an induction as you. And this is just, I'm excited when he called and I said, "Can you say a few words?" Absolutely. I didn't have to give him two thoughts. I'm sure. When, where do I need to be? So Anthony, congratulations. You deserve it. This is a well worth, a well-timed, right? Just awesome. It's just an awesome experience to watch you receive this award. It's great. Come on up, I guess, right? We get to sit down now, right? All right, cool. We get to sit down now.
Oh, yeah.
Here by yourself.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
that
I
look of
appreciate the stories.
intimidation.
I'll try to keep it short and simple, too. So, but no, what Mr. Benton said that he didn't have a part in it, he definitely did. There was a time at regional meet, 2007, there was a diver from Lake Orion who was really, really good. But he liked to play mental games, and that's something I was never good at. But Mr. Benton is. He's always talking about mental strategies. And he was in my corner at the time, and the diver was doing it, and it just kept fluttering me, and he saw it. So he calmed me down and kept me calm, told me to put my headphones on, and we ended up beating the 2-time state champion that day. So, thank you, Mr. Benton, for that. But no, and I'd also like to thank my parents too. My parents, always been supportive. They would take me to diving camps, film my meets for me, and just love and support me so much. Wouldn't matter if I finished last or whatever, they would always tell me they loved me, and that's the support you need as an athlete. So that way you can excel yourself. And also, Officer Gus Weiler, who was my dare officer in the 6th grade. He would always he would stop me in the hallway and inquire what dives I was working on, and most importantly, how could I go through the water without making a splash? Well, no, I'm just happy he never checked my locker. But that was. But no, he always taught me that it's okay to walk your own path and to be proud of yourself. Thank you, Officer Gus Weiler. And also, where is he behind the camera? He was sitting over there. Oh, there he is, Major Mickens. If it wasn't for you making us do the bear crawl at wrestling practice and me breaking my finger, I probably would have been a wrestler. And also, Mr. Miz, I'm sorry I fell asleep in your AP Bio class. I didn't mean it. But no, he was always supportive in my classes too, inquiring about me, making sure everything was okay. And Mr. C, who couldn't be here unfortunately, he would always pull me sometimes away and go over my paperwork, make sure everything was okay with my college and my clearinghouse. So I appreciate that. Who's the other one? I'm trying to save those two for last because they're terrible. They said it. Well, no. I'll go on to Coach Benton. he always taught us that to respect ourselves, to respect our teammates, and most importantly, respect our city and honor our city. And that right there stuck with me until this day. So it's just very proud to have this honor, and yes, your speech almost made me cry a little bit. Because like I said, your mental aspect of the game is uncomparable to anybody else. To him sit there and watch me dive and to have my back when I need it, that's the reason why I'm standing up here today as well. And then Coach Adam, what you were telling me is a dive. In order to be a diver, you got to have a couple screws loose in your head. And I never understood that until I was looking back and like, well, I'm 95% naked, jumping on a flimsy board, being judged by others. Yeah, that definitely got to have a couple screws loose. But no, he always told me he had great quotes. Sky's the limit, which is the truth for any athlete. But there's also a drain at the bottom of the pool, and you don't want to hit that one. And also, diving's like a bottle of ketchup. The longer you wait, the better it is. The longer you can hold yourself from the board flipping you up, the higher you'll go. Thank you, Coach Adam. I appreciate everything you've done for me. And you all are all the Hall of Famers. I'm just a product of you.
I'm not stopping you.
Oh, go on. I'm sorry. No, it's an honor to stand here, and it's an honor to stand with my fellow athletes. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Congratulations. The next person will be Billy Howe, and he's going to be introducing his dad, Cliff Howe.
Not going to be nearly as long as everybody else's, just so everyone knows. All right, so as many of you know, I'm Cliff's son, Billy. Good evening, everybody. I would like to first start off by saying congratulations to all the other inductees, and congratulations to whoever's idea it was to give this to my dad. I truly did not think his head could get any bigger. In all seriousness, no. My dad truly is a humble and hardworking man, and at times does not receive the appreciation and recognition that he deserves. He doesn't realize how important the things that he has accomplished are and the things that he continues to do every day. My dad was a multi-sport athlete from football to basketball to baseball, and he has excelled in each of them. But when it comes down to it, the strongest passion my dad has ever had is his love for baseball and coaching. From the time that I was 4 years old, all the way up until my senior year of high school, my dad never stopped coaching me, not only on how to play or swing a bat or field a ground ball, but how to be a good man. To this day, I work hard at everything that I do because of him, and I honestly believe that had it not been for the discipline and perseverance at baseball and sports, and that he taught me, that I would not have finished the fire academy and continued to chase the dreams that I set myself out to achieve. Although my dad goes by Cliff, and many people know him by Cliff, his real name is Billy Clifton Howe Jr. Maybe a shock to some of you, as my mom did not find out well into them dating that his name was actually Billy. But I have the great honor of being named after him and my grandpa. My grandpa actually passed several years ago, and despite what you think, Dad, I am sure that he would be very proud of you, just like all of us are. And as I have said, I have a lot of pride in my name, and it holds a lot of meaning to me. And when the time comes for me to have children of my own, and Mom and Dad, before you have a heart attack, not planning on any time soon, just give me a minute, I hope to name him Billy Clifton Howe IV, so that in hopes that he will look up to me the same way that I look up to you every day. Now, before my mom and dad start to cry, back to baseball. When I think about how my dad's coaching and guidance instilled these qualities in me, I think of all the other kids that he coached and continues to coach to this day. And though they may not have had the same privilege as me in having him as a coach for as long as they did and as a father, but I guarantee you that every one of those players that put forth a little effort into bettering their play was matched tenfold by my dad's coaching. And don't let his size intimidate you. He's a big softy. He cares immensely not only about improving a kid's ability to play, but their future as well. So I hope in being inducted not only for his athleticism during high school, but his dedication and continued work with baseball, that he sees, as he taught me, that hard work pays off. Love you, Dad. Congratulations.
I knew I should have picked somebody else. It was when I first got the call, some of the first guys I called were my closest friends, and told them the conundrum that I had. Especially a few of the guys that are still part of my life today that I've known for 45, 35 plus years, and didn't want to offend one or the other. And I started to think back when I got married. I had to choose the best man, and he bailed me out when he was like 10 years old. He was my best man at my wedding. So thanks for bailing me out again. Hopefully I did not offend any of my guys. As he said, most of you know that I'm not big on words. If you were 35 baseball players sitting here, I'd have no problems. I could tell you exactly what I want and get my point across and be done with it. But had to make some notes. And one thing I definitely did not want to do is forget somebody that, again, positively impacted my life through sports to get me where I am today. So bear with me. I was told I had 10 minutes. I timed myself. It actually took me 16 and a half. So, and you have no music to start, so I'm not leaving. First of all, the Hall of Fame committee, Mr. Lefevre, bang up job. This is, I think it's been a long time waiting to start something like this, and I hope you're here for years to come so you can keep this going. It's a great event, and we definitely appreciate it. Mr. Clement, where is he? Behind the photographer. Thank you, sir. He not only a friend, but a long time, he was my assistant principal when I was here, and he actually nominated me. I guess he let the cat out of the bag, but he gave me the phone call, says I'm putting you in, and thanks for making this possible. Appreciate you. Congratulations to all the other honorees. I was looking forward to actually seeing Marie tonight. Me and Marie graduated together, and she was a stellar athlete. I hope everything works out with what she has going on. Last year's Hall of Famers, you look at some of the guys that got voted in there, and you kind of shake your head, why am I standing here? And again, I chose baseball as a career, and those guys, Richie Maloney, played against Richie when he was in high school, ended up playing with him during the summer. We actually communicate to this day. He's at Ball State. I'm at little old Macomb Community College, but he still keeps in touch with me to see if we got a guy that we can refer to go and play at his school. So we still stay in contact. Brian Sikorsky, followed him through his high school career. Didn't really get to meet him until after he started playing. When he got to the pro level, he would come over to the school, work out in between seasons, and it was an honor and a privilege to watch him succeed, especially at the professional level. And Ernie Witt, back in the day, I remember watching that guy on TV. We called him the Tiger Killer, And I watched his speech last year, and his daughter introduced him. Said one of the biggest mistakes that they think one of our Tiger GMs at the time made was not signing that guy. I think he probably had over 400 and had career numbers, Hall of Fame numbers in Tiger Stadium. So it's not every day when you get to, not only do you idolize a guy like that. I was a catcher, he was a catcher. He went to Brablec, I went to Brablec, and from Roseville. And I used to watch all the games he caught, and I wanted to be just like him. He was one of my idols. And for me to actually be able to meet him, work with him, after he left pro baseball, I got to work at some of his camps across Canada, and actually became a friend with him. We go down to spring training, I give him a call, he brings the whole team in, walks us around the complex, and spends time with our players. So congratulations to him. You know, you start thinking when you get something like this, you don't want to forget anybody. And, you know, who made an impact on you, positive impact. For some of you that don't know, back in those days, I graduated in 84, so you're 82, 83, 84. Some of the teams that I played on were not the best. I mean, I literally think we were 0-9 one year in football. But what you take away from playing on a team like that, determination, don't quit. Your teammates, you see them, you know, grinding every day. They push you to grind every day. I can't recall, I know none of my guys ever quit a sport because we weren't faring well. Sometimes when you go through those seasons, it makes you an even better athlete. To when you do get to, you know, on a winning team. In a day and age of participation trophies, I think some of our youth these days lack that, being able to fail. But I think that was you know, also contributed to, you know, what I am today. Again, you start thinking of people that had an impact on you. Back in the high school days, I can remember coming in, and one guy that sticks out in my mind, I believe he's no longer with us, Mr. Wangard. He coached football, and he also coached me in basketball. Remember one of the events that he used to host was called the Grade 8. It was 8 days of you being here in the morning, you know, in the gym or outside, and you went through his workouts. And at that time, I started to see, you know, discipline, commitment, determination to stick it out. The one value of it, at the end of 8 days, after he beat the crap out of you, he gave you a T-shirt. So I survived the grade 8. So, and I literally use that concept with my players. We have a shortened version of it. We run 5 days. We call it our MCC Baseball Hell Week. And if they make it all 5 days and don't miss a day, they get a T-shirt. So, and they wear it with pride. Another guy who was not, wasn't really a coach, but like I said, at the time he was our assistant principal, Mr. Clement. I don't know if he knows the impact that he's had on myself, and I can speak on behalf of some of the other people here tonight. He was a force to be reckoned with. He was a disciplinarian. He kept us on track, but he was also one of our biggest supporters. I remember at all the games, he'd have a little conversation with you if you did something good. You know, good job, give you a little pat on the back. So, you know, he served both sides of the fence, and we appreciate you, Mr. Clement. Several others. I mean, I can literally remember, you know, I played 3 years of baseball, and I had 3 different coaches, 3 different years. But, you know, taking away a little bit from each, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Jones, Mr. Cantalupo, Mr. Cesaro, our football assistant coaches, Mr. Trobaugh, Mr. Taylor. All had positive impacts on us. You know, I'm 52. Been in the city of Roseville my whole life. When I decided to make the big move and get out of Mom and Dad's house, I moved a whole block away, where I still live to this day. And I probably will be for some years to come, and I apologize, dear. She's chomping at the bit. I love the city, I always have. Again, sense of pride. Even to this day, like Mr. Clement said, it's still a small town feel sometimes. The closeness with the police department, the fire department, the mayor, the city council, it definitely instills a sense of pride to be part of the city, okay? And I'm not planning on going anywhere soon. again, apologize. But, you know, and then you start thinking again, get a little nostalgic, and it goes all the way back to Alumni Elementary. I don't know if some of you guys remember the school. They just tore it down a few years ago across from junior sports. Went there. I mean, guys like Mr. Gafkin, Jerry DeBold, basketball coaches. Mr. Gafkin was a force as well. We were telling some stories. Eastland Middle School, Mr. Fulton, Mr. Margitan. You sitting there listening to the guy, they demanded such respect. I remember times where one of my friends reminded me today that if you weren't listening and he had a ball in his hand, you wore it. You know, nowadays he'd be on Channel 2 News, unemployed. So, the student body and the community as well. I remember Friday nights over at Memorial Park. You know, good support there, hundreds of people there, playing in this gymnasium. You know, hundreds of people there. So it made you want to, you know, do your best and compete and represent. When I left here, wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do. I had some offers with baseball. I had some offers with football. Actually, Mr. Wenger was trying to push me to go the football route, and I just started to think about, you know, butting heads with the size of some of those guys every day, and I think I made the wise decision to stick with baseball. One of the guys that, again, was a big impact on me was my coach at MacKool College, Tom Wakely, who's here tonight. I learned more from that guy in 2 years of baseball than up to this day. I still continue to, you know, learn from him. He was such an impact on me that when I got the head job, he was the first guy I called. He's my pitching coach and still talking about retirement, but we're going to work on that. Just give me 3 more years. We got to win a national championship. Wayne State, I continued, played there 2 years after that. Angelo Gust. Angelo couldn't be here tonight, but you know, he taught me quite a bit as well. I mean, again, you start thinking about all the people that impacted you. I mean, I start digging up even summer ball. Rose and Ed Quartermatch. Rose literally started an MABF team just so we had somewhere to play during the summer. It was called the Roseville Royals. And a lot of guys that I played with back then, a couple of guys here tonight. So, you know, thank you, Ed and Rose, who, well, Rose is no longer with us. And in 1994, I ran into a gentleman by the name of Jim Cordy. Signed me to play with Jetbox Baseball. I've actually been with them up to this day. It's 25 years. Some of the guys here tonight that I played with, and I'm sure if you ask those guys around that table what Jimmy taught you about the game of baseball itself, did he teach you how to hit, field, throw, pitch? No. Most of us knew more than him about the technical side of the game. The thing he did teach us was he treated us like family. I mean, he's literally written a book with the different eras of the teams that played on or played for him, and he lists them as families. And that's one thing I took away from that guy. And I kind of treat my players. Sometimes I get too close to them, but you know, I want them to know that, you know, play for me. It's not just a team; it's a family. All right, last page. Not too bad. Where am I at on time? You know, over the years, you learn through your experiences that you are a product of your environment. You know, some of the cliches. Surround yourself with quality people, and you will be one of those. You know, you surround yourself with bad people, and they can steer you in the wrong direction. And you know, all of us have been there. And if I wouldn't have made some choices, you know, hang out with the wrong people, I might not be standing here myself. I've been blessed. So many quality people around me, even to this day. many of whom are here tonight. If I could, just take a quick second. I'm going to get a little selfish here. If any of you played a sport with me, stand up. Anybody? All right. This, I appreciate every one of you. And as I look around at some of the faces, I could take up the whole evening and tell a story about each and every guy here. Each. Yeah, that don't have time for that, nor do they have the beep button to eliminate some of the choice words. But I do appreciate all you guys. You've impacted me, and definitely in a positive manner. Again, you look around at these guys, they're all quality people, great fathers, citizens, human beings. So, you know, the type of people that you strive to be. Along with that, I've been blessed to have, and you heard me use the term, my guys. I'm talking 45 years ago at Alumni Elementary. I met the guys that have been with me still to this day. Joe Roberts, Paulie Martin. You know, back in the day, back at Alumni Elementary. Just a quick story about Joe. We didn't really see eye to eye. We rode the same bus to school. Joe, if you see his stature, big guy. Back then he was a little confused in his role, but he felt that he had to run things. And one day I must have sat in the wrong spot. I thought he was patting me on the head as he walked by to get off the bus, and lo and behold, when I got home, I ran my fingers through my hair, and there's a stick of gum in there. So that was one of the first encounters. Didn't really know that we'd still be good friends to this day, if you'd asked me that day. I think I literally told him, I said, one day, Joe Roberts, somebody's going to beat you up. Might not be me. I think we're still waiting for that day. Another guy, Mitch Berlin. Met him in second, third grade. Again, first meeting was not all to brag about, but I think we were in Miss Hilscher's class, and it's still one of my favorite stories to this day. I'd have to glance over. He was at the desk, and we had our lunch boxes out, and he had a little knife to cut up his apple, and he was giving the old motion, I'm going to stab you with it. So I raised my hand. I said, Miss Hilscher, Mitch has got a knife in his lunchbox. And then he proceeded to chase me for the next 2 or 3 years on the playground. Thank God I was faster than him, but it ended up blossoming into a great relationship. We played elementary basketball together, and still to this day, he's one of my go-to guys. Middle school, Jack Latour, Jimmy Crabtree, stellar guys. Guys that I surrounded myself with. I would hope that I impacted them half of the way they've impacted me, and kept me on a straight and narrow. Kind of kept each other in check, but I think, when you surround yourself with guys like that, you're in good shape. Thank you, guys. Probably my biggest supporter, as my son mentioned, was my dad. No longer with us. He passed away in 2006. But for many of you that knew my father, he was also my biggest critic, as well as some of yours. It's just that personality. And yeah, another great story. We were playing baseball, and my friend Jack Latour had made it onto the infield. Ground ball, sharply hit to him. Just a step ahead, wanted to make the throw before he caught the ball, went through the legs, and in my father's fashion, having no filter from here to here, recited the term, "Get him out of there." Needless to say, Jack was our right fielder for the rest of the year. Did not want to step on the infield. So, and again, but that guy, I could never think of a time, especially in high school, that couldn't look in the stands and see him sitting there. If he wasn't coming straight from work and he was there in his shop clothes, he went home and put on his slacks and a dress shirt, and I always knew he was there. My mom, my brothers, one of my brothers here tonight, for their support. My brothers were my teammates when we were kids. Drove my dad nuts. We could never grow grass in the backyard because we had 4 patches where the bases were, and our yard was the yard that everybody came to play baseball during the summer from sun up to sundown, until 8 or 10 broken windows later, and he said go to the school. So Eastland Middle School became our baseball field. Probably most importantly, especially now, and when I transitioned into being a coach, was my family. They've sacrificed quite a bit for me to be able to do what I love. I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life because I'm able to do that. My sons, Billy, Jared, my one granddaughter who's here tonight, thank you guys. Most of all, my friend, my wife, Tonette. Yeah, I know. Huh? Yeah, darn allergies. Yeah. Turn the heat up, will you? I remember one instance, it's 2013. Tom Wakely called me, said, "Hey, I got a gig for you. You want to get your foot into professional baseball? I got you a coaching job in the Frontier League. We leave in about a week." I said, "Hold on." I said, give me a day. Let me run it past the boss. Let's see what she says." I was so excited. Got off the phone, went in the bedroom, said, "Hey, got this opportunity." Of course, I sold it like it was this grand scheme of things, and I said, "Well, how long is it?" I said, "Well, it's about 4.5 months, 90 some odd games on the road in a bus. Not much money." She said, "Well, see ya. Have at it." She gave me the nod, so I called Tom, and without her holding the fort down, or she'd actually work weeks where she'd jump in the car on Friday, and wherever the team was, she'd come out and meet us, bring the kids. Without that type of support, there's no way I could have pulled it off. So thank you, sweetheart. Again, honorees, congratulations. Everybody that came tonight, we appreciate your support. Mr. Feeve, again, we hope you keep this going strong. If you need any of our help, you let us know. Okay? Thank you all.
Before we move on, I want to make sure that I do talk a little bit about the 2 members that are in the Hall of Fame that are not here tonight. Maria Palinkas, that we mentioned, her mother passed away, and she's in San Diego right now taking care of some of that stuff. She was an amazing track athlete and also volleyball player. She earned honors in league and also at the state, and went on to Hillsdale to run track. And she had many good stories that I want to share, all of them. Some are some choice things that she said about people, but I won't bring those ones up. And also Bob Zimmerman, who was an amazing track athlete. And he was one that we really had to dig into some of the archives and find some stuff about. And when we saw that he won 3 state titles in 1 year, it was a kind of a no-brainer where you had to think, how could you not put this guy in that won 3 state championships in 1 year? So he was a for sure guy that we wanted in there. So I wanted to take a second to make sure that we honor them. So congratulations to them, and hopefully she'll be able to check this out and see that we honored her tonight. We want to make sure that when she comes back in a couple of weeks, during one of our basketball games, we're going to make sure we give her a plaque and the dues that she earns. So congratulations to those two. And one last time, I want to thank everybody for coming. Like I said at the beginning, the reason we do this is because it brings you guys back. And one of the things that I loved when I sent it out to the Hall of Famers from last year is getting their feedback. And some of them we can't get rid of because they're constantly coming back and making sure they get their passes so they can come to all our games. But that's really the reason why we invited you guys back. And we expect and we want you guys to be a permanent fixture in Roseville High School and come back. Because the kids will look up to you. They know who you are because we make sure we tell them. So especially, we got some swim stuff. Mr. Valdez will find you because we need a diving coach. And I saw Mr. Marzek, so I'm sure he'll pick your brain again for baseball. So, and Pete is no longer our track coach, but I need him to be my track coach, so I need your help. So once again, thank you for coming. At halftime of the basketball game, we'll do the actual induction where you give you your plaques. We have an amazing basketball team this year. They are ranked in the top 5 in the state right now. So we are getting really big turnouts for those. So not only do you get to enjoy this, but you get to watch some top-notch basketball. So with that being said, we have a whole section roped off for you guys. So when you walk down there, you'll see that. It's wide open. We'll make sure you guys have plenty of time to get down there. Halftime is probably in about 20 minutes, so you can spend some time mingling in here if you like. And a couple minutes before halftime, I'll ask the Hall of Famers to come up next to the scores table, and we'll do the big ceremony for you guys. So thank you again for coming, and congratulations, Hall of Famers.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome as we honor and induct the Roseville High School Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2019. These exceptional athletes were carefully chosen for their athletic accomplishments in Roseville and continued athletic careers after high school. On the court tonight is Roseville High School's athletic director, Chris Lefebvre. Mr. Lefebvre will be presenting our distinguished inductees with a plaque commemorating their induction into the Hall of Fame. Our first inductee is 2004 graduate Micaela Mayer. As a member of the Roseville High School track and field team, Micaela qualified for states each of her 4 years at Roseville High School and was also a 4-year All-County Award winner. A 3-time United States Amateur Track and Field Junior National Champion, Micaela would attend Grand Valley State University on scholarship, where she earned All-American recognition, winning an NCAA Division II National Championship. Roseville Hall of Famer, Micaela Mayer. Our next inductee is 2007 graduate, Anthony Stadwick. As a member of the Roseville High School swim and dive team, Anthony set and still holds the school record for points in both a 6 and 11 dive competition. A division and county champion, Anthony would earn recognition as both an All-State and All-American diver. Anthony became a member of the 2007 Michigan Junior Olympic team and attended Oakland University on scholarship, where he earned league honors in 2009. Roseville Hall of Famer, Anthony Stadwick. Our next inductee is 1984 Brablec High School graduate, Cliff Howe. While at Brablec, Cliff would earn both All-County and All-State honors in football, baseball, and basketball. Attending Macomb Community College and later Wayne State University for baseball, Cliff would earn all-conference honors. After playing semi-professional baseball for 20 years, Cliff became the head coach of the Macomb Community College baseball team in 2014. Cliff would also serve as an associate scout for the Texas Rangers. Roseville Hall of Famer, Cliff Howe. Our next inductee, who unfortunately is not in attendance tonight, is 1984 Brablec High School graduate Marie Palinkas. An outstanding member of the Brablec Cougars track and field team, Marie would set a county record in the 300-meter hurdles and win a state championship in the 100-meter hurdles. Earning both All-County and an All-American honorable mention, Marie would attend Hillsdale College on scholarship, where she set a school record in the 60-meter hurdles and All-American honors in the 55-meter hurdles. Roseville Hall of Famer Marie Palinkas. Our last inductee, who unfortunately is also not in attendance, is 1952 Burton High School graduate Robert Zimmerman. As a member of the Burton track and field team, Robert won state championships in the long jump, the 4x880 relay, and the 220-yard dash. Robert would go on to attend the University of Michigan on scholarship. Roseville Hall of Famer Robert Zimmerman. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, let's hear it for our Roseville High School Athletic Hall of Fame, class of 2019.